Welcome to another episode of Member Spotlight, where we have an opportunity to take a look at some of the organization's brightest and most successful entrepreneurs. And today is no exception. Today we're going to be visiting with Mr. Angelo Austin. How you doing, Angelo?
I am fine. How are you, Van?
Oh man, just excellent. That's excellent. You know, I've been looking forward to doing this particular interview because in the short time I've known you, you've been quite a success with your business. But we'll talk about that a little later. But first, I want to read your bio and give the audience a little background on just what you're all about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Angelo Austin is the founder and owner of Preeminence. He is a passionate soul who has dedicated his entire life to the art of perfumery. The journey to establish Preeminence began way before the first product, which he calls Orgasm Perfume. Angelo was inspired by aromatic scents his mother and sisters would often wear. During his dating years, he would often buy perfume while perusing many of the big brand stores while paying close attention to the packaging. He had ideas of his own, but was hesitant to manufacture his own line. After sitting on his ideas for 6 years, he decided to make his move. Angelo began making perfumes himself in small batches. During this time, he was also in school studying for a degree in science where he would research with chemists to formulate his first product. In 2019, Angelo went to Paris to do an apprenticeship course at one of Paris's premier facilities for perfume. Today, Angelo works along with his impressive team at Preeminence, producing a selective array of captivating fragrances. He is a member of the National Entrepreneur Association and an NEA certified entrepreneur. Let's welcome Mr. Angelo Austin. Quite an introduction there, Angelo. You've been busy.
Yes.
Now, I purposely kind of bypassed where you went to school in Paris at the, pronounce that for me.
Fragrant Art. So that's the, they also call it the Museum of Perfume. So it's Fragrant Art. And then they have the apprenticeship program there where you actually go in and learn how to mix in different various techniques of mixing.
Right. And so that was instrumental in giving you some basic fundamental background on developing some of your later perfumes that came out after Orgasm.
Yes. And one thing that it helped me understand also is the different techniques that they use there inverse to what we use here. So like, even if you look at some of their techniques over there, they go by the Jean Carl method, which is like a pretty much strenuous method to where you would have to actually blend scents to make them smell like one thing. So you have to, the scents would need to be blended to smell like one thing. You can almost look at this like colors. So if you mix in blue and yellow, I think that makes green. If you mix in those two colors, you can make it to where it looks exactly like that color, or you can make it to where you see more of this color than that color. But you could tell it's definitely still a mixture of it. But they go by pretty much the Jean Carl method, which everything is more of a uniform smell.
Right. Now, Angelo, one of the things you talked about is that challenge of going up against the big box stores. And I know that the perfume industry is big. You know, what was it that, you know, gave you the idea that you could compete in pulling your own perfume line into the market? That was a tall task.
Yeah, because I felt like I was more creative. I felt like the bigger brands, they had more resources, but I felt like that was only a component of their success. It was because of that. But I felt like the ideas that I had that I could bring into fruition was definitely, it could be on that level. I know that it's just not only about resources. A lot of times it's about creativity, how you can compete with the bigger brands.
Yeah, and that was powerful because a lot of time people hesitate to jump into an industry like that because of the fact that, you know, they know it's a large market and how could they possibly compete? So what would you say was your secret sauce? Is it the fact that I've heard people say that this Orgasm perfume is it?
Yes.
That it's quite good. Is that kind of what launched your success and made you realize that, hey, maybe I can do this?
Yes, once I actually, because I spent about 6 to 7 months making that actually. So it was a lot of trial and error on that with learning how to do it and everything. And then when I actually went out and first sold it, it got a good response on it. Okay. So at that point, then I actually saw that, okay, I can do this. And after so a while, this was another story also, which actually helped me understand business a little bit better. At this point, I had a location inside the mall. And I know a gentleman, I was speaking with him and he said, okay, if McDonald's only sold hamburgers they would have been out of business. He said, you got to diversify what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So that made me think, okay, I have to venture out into other products now, because I was really stubborn and just wanted to stay into perfume. But I had to understand, okay, it's not the product so much that I'm giving a person, it's the scent and how they apply it, whether it's through their home, whether it's through lotion or anything like that. They're still getting a scent. It's just a different medium.
Okay, so you have other products that you develop beside the perfumes.
Yes.
Okay, tell us quickly about some of those.
So perfumes, body butters, shea butter lotions. What else do we have? We're actually shower gels. We're actually about to come up with face sponges also. So it's where you can actually get into face. I got pretty much into that because it's in the cosmetics also.
Okay.
And next we're gonna come with home sprayers. So things to scent your home. And then we do have oil diffusers where you can scent your home with the oil. Is just put it in the diffuser. So you're humidifying and scenting that at the same time.
Now let's shift gears a little bit, Angelo, because I know you've been a member of NEA for probably a couple of years now.
A couple of years.
Yeah, and I know since coming on board with our National Entrepreneur Association, and hats off to you. I mean, you're one of those individuals, when you joined the organization, you hit the ground running, you got involved, you volunteered. You're even on a committee that we have under the National Entrepreneur Association we call it YE, which is YE for Young Entrepreneurs, and you work with us on that and some of the Young Entrepreneur Initiative, which are entrepreneurs under the age of 40, I believe.
Yes.
So you're way under that, right?
I'm a couple years under that.
But what I want to get to is how has getting involved in being a member of NEA, how has that impacted your business?
It told me how to plan. So one thing that I noticed with NEA, especially being in the YA segment, I seen that, okay, you guys, the planning of it is what's propelling the success of it. So that taught me that with business, how to actually plan. And another thing too that it actually taught me is how to execute. And then the boot camp itself, that just gave a whole nother insight on how to really structure your business and where your weak links are at.
Now let's talk about that. That was my next question. You were fortunate enough to be a part of the first inaugural launch of the cohort 1 of the boot camp. And since then, we've moved on. We're into cohort 2 now, and we have commitments already for cohort 3, and it's turning out to be an overwhelming success. Kind of capsize real quick how that has benefited your experience by having that NEA certification and what your experience was like with that whole process.
The whole boot camp, it was definitely a game changer. And when I say that, no matter where you're at in business, you're going to see some leaks somewhere. So I believe that the financial module was definitely good because you saw leaks. I saw where I was actually leaking that in there. Leadership. I would say altogether that the bootcamp is a personal development also. I would say even outside of the fact that you're just learning about business, you're learning a lot about yourself too. And at the end of it, it's about the knowledge you gain for something, not necessarily the tangible thing you get from it that's going to propel you forward. But the tangible thing that you get from it, it could still be motivation for you.
Right, and that was an interesting point you brought up about it. It goes beyond business because one of the things that is very fundamental to NEA is we talk a lot about the entrepreneur mindset. In fact, that was one of the modules taught by none other than our president, Zelani Allen, along with myself, is one of the instructors, and I always get a big kick out of teaching that because it's very powerful. That mindset doesn't only play into business, but also into personal life. In that particular module, what did you glean from that you can say was of great value to you as far as your mindset when it comes to business?
I would say, for one, being around people who's on the same wavelength. That's one thing that I definitely had to take from that module, because that steel sharpens steel at the end of the day, and you're going to attract what you're around. And one thing too that I noticed with taking that, because they gave us the exercise in there with the rubber band. I'm not going to talk all about what it was, but the exercise with the rubber band, and that I feel like that was powerful because it showed you how much you can get unfocused.
Yeah,
it showed you how much you can get unfocused, and I like that idea of it because it's almost like a painful reminder not to get unfocused.
Well, they have that old saying, you don't know what you don't know until you find out you don't know it. And
Yeah.
a lot of times the thing that's powerful about the whole mindset piece is quite often we overlook or don't recognize the things that may be holding us back from being successful. You could have a great product, and you can be smart as a whip, but you could have one little element that you haven't really taken the time to sit down and discover about yourself, which may be hampering your success as an entrepreneur. Now,
yeah,
we covered a lot of information in the short time, but what I want to do is one of the things I like to do during this member spotlight is to get one of your top techniques or piece of advice that you could offer to a young entrepreneur. I purposely say a young entrepreneur because you're a part of that whole piece. But one thing that you could offer them that would be your advice as to how they can more or less guarantee their success as an entrepreneur, because I'm sure, as you know, many entrepreneurs fail within the first 5 years. So what would be your advice?
Can I actually give like 2 pieces of advice?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to say is whatever you're doing, understand your USP, your unique selling proposition. This is what sets you apart from other people in your industry that's doing the same thing. Because it's everybody doing, a lot of people does the same thing, especially once you get more involved in the industry that you're going to get involved in. 2, I would say seek mentorship. So seek mentorship or seek someone that's in that same field that can give you some advice or give you some knowledge on something, because I look at business like walking down a road blindfolded. But when you have a mentor or someone who can guide you through something, that's almost more so like you have a roadmap at that point. Not a complete roadmap to get to where you're going, but it's going to give you more direction than if you were walking blindfolded down there. So those are my 2 biggest pieces of advice, I would say. And then whatever your USP is, your unique selling proposition, that needs to be something that's communicated effectively to the customer.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Angelo, I can see why, you're probably one of NEA's top success stories over the last couple of years and some of the things that you've done since you've been in the organization. And I can see why, because that's great advice. We're talking about things like, mentorship and surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, how can people find out more about, some of your great products or get a hold of you if they want additional information?
Well, you can always search me online, theperfectperfume.com. It's very easy to remember. So it's theperfectperfume.com. Amazon Preeminence. I know that's a mouthful to spell, but I will spell it out. Preeminence. So we are on Amazon also. And if you definitely want to reach out, a good email is aa@angeloaustin.com.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Angelo, we're out of time, but man, it's been an absolute pleasure. As I said, this is an interview I've been looking forward to, and it was a pleasure. And man, just keep up the good work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate this so much.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Van Allen here. Thanks for joining us. Visit us at nationalentrepreneurs.org. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.